people are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Do not come. Do not come.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy Sunday shit show. How are you, Pat?
Monday, fun day, shit show. I have been struggling with tech all day and all weekend, and I'm losing my goddamn mind.
So frustrating.
I bought a new video card, even spent a couple $100 on that. It didn't fix the crashing problem. I just tried using Firefox instead, and that's not working for StreamYard at all. So yeah, I hope I don't crash, but there's a good chance I'll crash once the show.
I know it is frustrating for you, and I'm really sorry, but you know, we're all fine, but I know it stinks, so I'm sorry. I know.
Yeah, it's okay. How's everything going?
It's okay, you know, it's all right. I'm happy to be here. I am happy to be here and not watching the eulogy of Charlie KIRK live, although I know you're keeping tabs on it in case there's any breaking moment.
Yeah, I'll add that back since I made a last second decision to ditch Firefox, so that was on Firefox.
Yeah,
got it ready to go now. I think they already moved on. I think it was short and sweet.
All right. What, the eulogy? Well,
yeah, I think it's already over.
We have one clip of Tucker just I don't know. Every day somehow surpasses the previous. It's just like it just never the outrage just continues. Okay. Welcome, everybody. We are so happy that we are here with you. There is a lot to cover. So let's start first by thanking our wonderful heroes and sheroes. Truly grateful to be in this community and to have all of your support. We are like really, it is it's one of the few bright spots. So thank you. We are incredibly appreciative.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. And are we going to start right in? Should we just start right in? I feel like I have to tell you, I am having a hard time. I'm just having a hard time. Like, I do feel like I don't know what to do. We don't have a strong, organized left. They keep blaming the left. Like anybody has listened to us ever. We're totally neutered, and fascism is here, and it's been here for a while. So like all the stuff about like, can you believe it? Yeah, it's more outrageous. It's grosser. It's all that kind of stuff. But like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm knocking my head against a wall and nothing changes. And there's so much pain in the world. And I just feel sad.
It is really frustrating that the left is so weak. I mean, we've known that forever. And I think part of the discouragement now is that we're getting a new cycle of the Democrats attacking the left, right? Because they kind of, you know, they had that grace period where they pretended after the election that they're going to do some introspection. And now that we know their strategy, now they're back to blaming the left. They're pushing Kamala and Pete Buttigieg again. So I think we all have a little, you know, not to overuse or misuse PTSD, but whatever you want to call it, that's just stressful reactions to being helpless and seeing this shit happen to us again and again and again and again.
And also to know that they put us here. Like, it's their fault that we are in this place. Right. And they're now talking about, you know, why Joe Manchin left the Democratic Party and Ezra Klein. Like, now we got to throw abortion rights under the bus. And I mean, I've now watched 2 episodes. I mean, I watched Bad Faith with Brianna Joy Gray all the time, but 2 in a row now where I am like, the fractures on the left, on the actual, what we used to consider the left, are very real. And I think also sort of self-inflicted. We can talk about it. We'll get into it. But anyway, I'm trying to find like, what's the, what's the happiness?
No, I mean, one thing that was, I mean, it just, everything, it just adds, it's all cumulative, right? You know, I mean, if we had like a week of good news, you know, we'd survive, be mentally healthy after every exposure to this shit, but we just never have wins, right? So it's like, it is kind of depressing. What depressed me today was seeing Destiny, of all people, getting coverage for his unfuck the politics or unfuck the country tour. He's basically doing a Charlie KIRK thing, pretending to be the left, going out into right-wing spaces. And to me, it seems clear that he's backed by Israel on this because he's the Zionist left, right? So now all of a sudden he's got this funding for this big old tour of Destiny.
He's like the Bari Weiss of the Bari Weiss of Charlie KIRK's of whatever.
Right.
Yeah, of just destroying everything. Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough that, bless you, that, you know, Bernie has been so disappointing on so many things, but his economic message, you know, I still believe in, and he's also what really woke me up to who the Democratic Party is. And to see some of the capitulation or some of the pressure he's possibly putting on Mamdani, and then Mamdani's possibly already caving on things, even though he won the primary with his strident integrity on policies. And now it all just feels like, God damn, we're just,
if that fucker turns out to be a piece of shit, man, it's going to be so harmful for the left. I mean, not just New York, but just like the last bit of hope that anybody has, even on a local level, for a big position is going to be cooked if he turns out to be a shitbag.
Yes. Okay. I agree.
Hey, Jen.
And I don't know if I can handle it. And, you know, I will say though, that like, I was so depressed in 2016, obviously, when they stole it from Bernie. And then in 2020, when they did it, I knew, like, I had nightmares for 2 years because it was so, I mean, it's pathetic that it took me to that moment, but I still thought somehow we could win. Like, enough of us were out there. And then that's when I realized we are the hope. Afro Nerd, thank you. I love that. And yes, we have to feel that way. But I also just feel like it's really important, like, to figure out what to do differently. Because right now, I don't know. And the fact that we're looking at somebody, you know, we saw it with Bernie, we saw it with AOC. We're all very aware that we're possibly about to see it with Mamdani. And like, what is the lesson here? And if he didn't take that lesson from India Walton, that no, you do not, after you've got this groundswell of support, you don't start tacking right and triangulating your message to appeal to the shitbags that got us here in the first place. Like, I don't know. It's like, but like, it just things keep getting so much worse that we don't really have to stick around.
100%. And even if his capitulations are just to win the election, it's deeper than that. Like, because he's making, like, these are deals being made when you're getting endorsements from these people. They're not just like, hey, you kiss the ring and you swear you'll be a little capitalist. No, it's actual tangible stuff behind the scenes that they're agreeing to.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Like, and yes, hope. They all do things that actually, I think, put us in danger. Like, this thing puts us in danger because we're lying about somebody who is truly vile and repugnant and acting like he did politics the right way, or doing this so that you think that maybe the MAGA extreme right people won't commit violence against us because, oh, we're going to lionize this racist piece of shit. No, they still are. Like, it doesn't, there's nothing we can do or say apart from entirely capitulating that will make them happy. So, like, going down that road just puts us all in more danger.
Exactly. Because when you have the top level Democrats all making a day for this guy, national, you know, Charlie KIRK Remembrance Day or whatever, you're normalizing his views. And that makes everyone who's pointing out what a problem Charlie KIRK was and what his ideology represents. Now we're radical leftists that the government can go after even more so, because, you know, hey, all the normal Democrats are like, hey, you're the terrible people over there on the left.
Yeah. the radical right and the radical left. And it was so disgusting that people were making fun of Charlie KIRK's death. Honestly, I did not see a single recognizable name making fun of his death. Not one. And in fact, like, people put together all of those clips, or the posts, the graphics of like every single major Democrat said as they send, shipments of weapons off to decimate entire people. But there is no place for political violence. There is no place. We didn't agree on things, but this is reprehensible. Like, everyone denounced it. Not the way they did when Nancy Pelosi's husband got bashed in the head with a hammer, right? Like, it's just, so that's a lie, and that's a false equivalency. But then on the flip side, the false equivalence, or the false idea is that we were a pro-free speech democracy before Trump. I mean, there are so many instances where the Biden administration used its considerable power and leverage to silence stories, to get protesters arrested, to like that set us up for this, just as, Bill Clinton set us up for the merger of all the huge media companies. I mean, this is bipartisan, but I absolutely reject that the radical left is as violent as the radical right. They absolutely aren't. And so that lie puts targets, as you said, on all of our backs. Fuck.
Yeah. And well, let's save some of this for later.
Yeah, I know.
I got thoughts.
We need to be happy. And do a cheers.
We always start with a little cheers for some positivity on somebody doing some good work. There's a couple we had to choose from, in fairness.
Yeah.
So there's that.
This is Portugal or Spain. I think it's Portugal. I'm gonna have to wait to hear but I think it is. And this is, there are targets being put on the back of the global Samud flotilla. They are being called Hamas-sponsored and terrorists. And as we know, Israel has intercepted illegally all of the other flotillas that have tried to break the siege, going back, over a decade now. They've killed people doing this. They've bombed some of the flotillas. So all eyes really do need to be on these flotillas, because clearly there is no value put on human life by Israelis. And the workers, which is, it's amazing. I mean, of course, I wish this had happened 2 years ago, but there are lots of dock workers, I know in Germany, in Spain, in Italy, in Portugal, all over, who are saying, if we lose connection with with any of the flotillas, we will shut everything down. So, Yeah,
and that's really important, because they're going to shut these down as much as they can. And the whole point of the flotillas is they escalate each time anyway. So escalating. And the more groups and unions we can get to say, hey, we're going to cause a severe economic impact to you if you harm these people, the more security they have and the more effective they can be.
Exactly. That's the only hope, as we talk about all the time. If you don't want it violent, the thing to do is
feed them.
Yeah, affect their capital intake. So cheers to these people. Let's discover which country it is. There were so many that now I've forgotten which one we chose.
I know.
Sorry, yep.
No, go ahead. Just play it.
Se Israele bloccherà la Global Sumut Flottiglia, noi blocchiamo il traforo del Freius. Come valsusine e valsusini ci uniamo all'appello lanciato dai portuali di Genova, Venezia e dagli studenti universitari, dando pieno supporto a chi lotta per rompere l'assedio che Israele da più di 2 anni impone su Gaza. Sosteniamo la missione umanitaria e civile più grande a cui abbiamo mai assistito, che mira a portare aiuti essenziali a chi sta morendo di fame sotto il peso di un genocidio. Se le navi verranno bloccate, la valle risponderà. Bloccheremo il traforo del Freius, una delle principali arterie commerciali che collega l'Italia alla Francia. più che mai ora che il traforo del Monte Bianco non è in funzione. Ora più che mai è cruciale mantenere alta l'attenzione, pertanto facciamo appello a tutte le realtà nazionali e internazionali per una mobilitazione capillare. Facciamo pressione sui governi affinché assicurino lo sbarco degli aiuti umanitari sulle coste di Gaza e interrompiamo tutte le relazioni commerciali con Israele. Palestina libera.
Italy, Forza Italia. My Italy. Well, cheers to them. You know, it is really hard for me because, you know, I can't just be happy not to wonder why they could not do this 2 years ago. Right? Like, that's what we were all begging for.
Yeah. But I think it's taken 2 years, but there is a tipping point now where the politicians are under so much pressure from constituents to do something, and maybe they're safer pulling off the blockade now, and maybe a year ago they would have been called Gaza and blown up. You know? I mean, but now's the time that the whole world has your support for any action you have to stop Israel. Anyone, everywhere.
I mean, it's amazing. Netanyahu's on his way back to the UN, which for some reason continues to be housed in New York, and Trump has denied, I mean, not that, but anyway, has denied the head of the Palestinian Authority a visa to come. So he will be, you know, zooming in electronically. But the fact that one country has the ability to do a veto of a ceasefire or recognizing Palestine as a state, or, you know, it's just amazing to me that the other global leaders have not stepped in.
Right. But you know, again, the positivity is on some level. Look, Trump just went over to be with the UK, and the UK is planning on recognizing Palestine soon. You know, I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
There'll be conditions and terms and whatnot.
That's
but
the thing. Yes, that's the thing. It's disgusting.
But I mean, that is our number one ally over, you know, decades. So for them to, in the face of trying to make sweet with Trump to get great deals on the tariffs,
right?
You know, they're kissing his ass with his second parade that never happens. He gets to ride in the little English fancy truck carriage, you know, whatever, all that shit.
It's like, seriously, revolution time.
Yeah, but with all that on the line, they're still disagreeing publicly on that. So we're going to be ostracized for sure for our positions, but the world is coming together to disagree with us.
They are, but as you said, there are these carve outs. First of all, that they waited this long to announce, like they gave Israel until September 19th or whatever, and then they were going, you know, so leveraging the liberation and self-determination of Palestine on if Israel stopped genociding them. But then also it's like, you know, absolutely the Hamas terrorists have to go, they have to disarm, like it just, they're
can't
all
be
of
part of leadership.
I mean, it's just gross. But anyway, so cheers to the workers who, unlike our leaders, are standing up, standing together in solidarity, and to the people on those flotillas. Oh my gosh, like, I mean, I don't know, I watched so many of their videos on the water, and, you know, they're singing together. I mean, it's hard. They're not, like, obviously they are deeply pained by what's happening, but, like, you know, how they are passing time and finding joy. And then the waves and how they're all just like lying flat on the deck so that they're not ralphing over the side, which would be me, because, oh my God, like, those are not huge boats.
No, trust me. I know all about seasick. My dad used to commercial. He was a teacher, but he commercial fished over the summers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We had a salmon boat. So I'd go out and fish with him once in a while. And I always got seasick the first. He did. Almost everybody gets seasick until you yak it up, and then your body's sort of usually fine.
Yeah.
But you got to go through that first rough patch.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's spin. So everybody can get a refill or take another hit or whatever it is, and find a bit of, did we both do it at the same time? There we go. Okay. Before we dive in.
Yeah, baby.
That's why I am not waiting for it to end before I do a refill. So I will happily watch a pups while I refill my drink.
All right, let's roll with some goats.
Stop. That hurts. Oh, really? You're headbutting the couch? Just coach. Hey, that's my paperwork. Stop. Stop. Now I'm gonna have to reprint that. Stop. Oh my gosh.
Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Hi, baby.
Fine, little floppy ear.
Bocephus!
Breakfast time.
I have to say, there are some parents out there who do things I would never allow, like that last one of headbutting a goat, but that's really cute. I love the way they run. Very
That
cute.
last one was the only reason I would have a goat. Just to just it's time. I need to put on the goat hat, goat helmet. Let's go.
All right. Where should we start? You know, there's a part of me that wants to start with the most recent, which is also, you know, like the craziest from this afternoon, which is Tucker Carlson at the service to eulogize the Man of Steel, who now MAGA is insisting stopped the bullet from going through him and hurting other people. So they are now saying, and of course I can't find anything. Well, yeah, here this. Yeah, look at this. Man of Steel, surgeon says Charlie Kirk's body stopped the bullet in absolute miracle that saved others. So, you know, in addition to the statues and the day of respect and the, you know, huge state funeral for him, they are really trying to make him something of a saint. Even Tim Dolan, Cardinal Tim Dolan, who, you know, famously in Boston covered up child sex abuse by priests who were serving under him, thinks that he, you know, possibly should get sainthood. So he, for them, is a modern day Jesus Christ. And this is what Tucker had to say.
Ultimately, he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted.
So this is where the crazy pro-Palestine, heavy anti-Semite combo comes together.
Really weird. And just his maniacal joy in that moment.
I
is
mean,
just
right?
off, seriously off.
Jews
Yeah,
did not
and
kill Jesus. He's like, Jews killed Jesus, and now they killed Charlie, and then a maniacal laugh.
And just, I mean, I can't hear hummus and have them pretend it's a Jewish thing anymore either. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
it's
totally.
Palestinians, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other
Like-
thing, which is sort of funny. Yeah.
But we mentioned this, but just so you know, in Oklahoma, there's a bill now to get every public university in the state to have a Charlie KIRK Memorial Plaza with a statue of him and his family. And these are the schools taking MLK out of the textbooks.
That's right.
No.
Yeah, because it's so offensive.
That's some scary
to know
shit.
our history. It is really terrifying. And again, like, I know, we all know that that's who they are. That's funny. I pee a little when Tucker laughs. But the problem is you have people like Ezra Klein saying that Charlie KIRK was doing politics exactly the right way.
The right way. Yeah.
Like, what? Why? Because he was talking to people and not just shooting everybody. He was saying the most repulsive, hateful things about every single group that wasn't just like a white straight man. He was
well, and of course
horrible.
he's just following our leader Newsom, who said we have to continue his legacy.
I mean, so they're normalizing this while comparing the right-wing extremism to the radical left, which, again, like, I know we all know this, but I feel like it's so important to keep just reminding everybody, we've shown it from, the, ADL, but okay, the ideology of political murders, it is over 75% right-wing extremism. There is very little that is from the left at all. And then the whole thing with like Antifa being violent. How do you think fascism ends? Like, do they think that we debate fascism? Because, by the way, when they talk about how he did it the right way, we've all seen the clips where he just shouts at people and calls them by epithets and tells them to sit down and they're too stupid. Like, is that really the right way? It's just like a smidge above bringing a knife or a gun and doing violence. Like, that's not the way I think we should do politics. I think politics is persuasion, and it is answering people's material needs and galvanizing people. It's not just screaming epithets at them while you say the most despicable racist diatribes.
But the whole thing is that they want to compare violence on both extremes so that they can bring in more surveillance state, more censorship. That's the bipartisan project where the left is the center left, the Democrats are happy to say all those progressives, they're being progressive in itself is damn near Hamas, is damn near fascism, is damn near socialism, which socialism is communism and communism is anti-American. They're still okay saying communism is anti-American when that's just not a reality. It's
like how all the things that libs love to take credit for, like the 40-hour work week or worker protections. All the things that both parties have now completely stripped away, minimum wage, all that didn't happen because of liberals. That was communists and socialists. Liberals are never on the forefront of those movements. They love to take credit for it afterwards. But again, they help the right because here we have the Department of Justice deleting the study on politics of domestic terrorists because we know they are predominantly right-wing extremists. Like, we know that.
And here's the GOP. They're about to label transgender people as violent extremists. And it just goes in the continuing, hey, your real left are violent extremists.
Yeah. So that's Antifa, the real left, who fights fascism. Trans people are also now going to be, they're preparing to label transgender ideology-inspired violent extremism as a domestic threat. What is first of all, I think that as a group, they are percentage-wise the biggest victims of violent extremism against them, not committing violent extremism. There is also no proof. Like, everybody just said at first they knew this guy was probably a right-wing extremist. Then, because his roommate is trans, they decided that meant that Tyler Robinson was left-wing, which that's not necessarily the way it goes, by the way. We still have not seen any indication. There's been no proof, like even, there's no evidence. There is no evidence that he was part of any left-wing group or shared any left-wing ideology. So that's bunk. And Democrats are the ones who are giving that air because, between Kamala Harris deciding that because Trump made one good commercial, right? By the way, she was no champion of transgender people. When she was the district or the attorney general of California,
leave it up to the states.
People, but even before that, she forced trans people to go to their assigned sex at birth places, right? So that puts people in a lot of danger. And then she barely said anything. The big Trump commercial that was, she's for they, them, I'm for you. Great. It's a great commercial. She didn't respond because she didn't know how, because she actually doesn't believe in a single fucking thing except trying to get ahead. And so the first lesson that all Democrats decided that they had to take from her enormous loss was, we went too far left. We got to throw more people under the bus. Oh, you're Mike, you're muted. You're still muted. Pat. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, but you're still muted.
How about now?
Oh yeah, you're good. There you go. There you go.
So goddamn annoying here.
I know, I'm sorry.
And I was going to say, look, the position she finally landed on after all her he and haw and back and forth as running for president was it should be left up to the states.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it up to the states. That's
Champion.
a real fucking civil rights champion here.
I mean, so you don't have an ally in this at all in the Democratic Party, and I mean, we'll get to it. All right. Anyway,
sorry, my watch keeps rewarding me for moving.
Oh, that's so funny. I know.
Good job exercising. It's like, no, my blood pressure's up because I'm mad.
All right. Well, maybe should we get into just a couple of none of this is light. It's all awful, but some of the stuff, the fallout from all the stuff with Kirk, since that's where we're sort of started.
Yeah. Run with Kirk.
Yeah. So, okay. There was an article in the New York Times. So, we all have looked at those text messages that seem mighty convenient for the FBI to have found something where Tyler Robinson explains to his roommate exactly why he did what he did, where he left the gun, how he has to go back, that he switched his clothes, that the vehicles and the squad cars that hadn't done the sweep yet, that he remember how I engraved those bullets, like lays everything out. That text exchange seemed so ridiculously perfect, crafted.
Yeah, perfect evidence. Like if you were a prosecutor, what would you want in a letter? That was the text exchanges. It's
like magic. It happened like that. So there was this article in the New York Times, text from suspect in Charlie KIRK shooting offer insight into a motive. Inside that article, they talk about how Mr. Robinson's partner, who was living with him, had been transitioning to being a woman from a man, prosecutor said. The text exchange between Mr. Robinson and his partner was reproduced by prosecutors in the charging document. So that is strange. Like, we know that if you write a text and you think you've deleted it, you haven't. Like, it's there. So why are we seeing something that's reproduced, no timestamps, it throws it even into more suspicion, right?
Absolutely. And pair that with the fact that they said we had a confession letter / manifesto that was destroyed somehow. They haven't explained what happened to it, but allegedly they have forensic evidence that proves it exists.
That they got under like extreme duress or like aggressive aggressive investigation tactics. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but if you didn't get, did you have it and lost it? Did you have it and it disappeared? I mean, what's your explanation for why you don't have it now? That's what we want to know. How can't you just answer that question?
And they can't. And listen, yes, they are totally incompetent, but they also are liars. So like nobody should trust anything that comes out of anybody's mouth at all. But what it has done is spur a few sort of, funny moments online of people mocking how ridiculous all of this is. There's one mock text, oh gosh, that I'm gonna have to really stick my head in here. Hello, roommate and lover. It is I, Tyler James Robinson. You're never going to believe what I did. It was I was the one who killed Charlie KIRK, just ridiculously making fun of what this text message now looks like. And then there are a few sort of funny videos that we've pulled of people showing how, go ahead.
Well, I think it's funny that you and I both pulled the 3 exact same clips.
Of course. Because, mind meld. Mind meld. All right, so here's one of them.
Hello, my love. You have no doubt heard of the shooting, and I must admit, 'twas I. I had hoped to keep the secret to the grave, but alas, I have not lasted the better part of an hour. Why have I committed this act? 'Twas the hate of the man. Reason had no purchase in the poor soil of his soul. You have not asked, but in case you were wondering where I hid the rifle, my love, 'twas over yonder by that lingering squad car. My old man shall surely be missing it presently. Do you remember how I was engraving bullets the other day in front of you? Well, it was just to do a big meme. Look no further into that. Also, I shall now misquote my own meme. Ooh woo, oh whoa. Probably makes no difference. I apologize to involve you and for this text to be so short, but I am on the lam. In conclusion, I beg you keep this from the prying eyes of the fuzz.
Justin, thank you, Justin, for the super chat. And yeah, fan fiction, exactly. Okay, there's another one. Mocking the detective work that went on.
You wanted to see me?
Shut the door. You're very online, correct?
Yes.
What are these memes? They were apparently engraved into the bullets of Charlie KIRK's killer.
This one is a reference to the satirically fascist video game Helldivers 2. This is a longtime internet joke that originally comes from furry roleplay. This one is a reference to an Italian anti-fascist folk song. It's also used in the video game Far Cry 6. And this is just how edgelords speak. He's clearly terminally online, or he was. Now he's in jail, presumably without internet. Anyway, these kinds of memes are commonly used by people who follow Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, the far-right fascist? That's right. His followers call themselves Groypers.
I'm sorry, did you say Groypers?
Groypers. Their mascot is a variant of Pepe the Frog. Yeah, the internet was a mistake. But we don't actually know if Tyler Robinson is a Groyper or conservative or liberal. Right, but I saw that his roommate and alleged partner is trans. Yes, the Utah governor said that a source in the investigation told him this, but that's relevant, right? It could be, but it could also just be another attempt by conservatives to tie this shooting to the trans community without really any evidence.
I think we have to fire you.
Why?
You're not being sad enough about Charlie KIRK dying.
So you're right here, but you should be closer to here.
In your Friday newsletter, you wrote that Charlie KIRK was, quote, a misogynist, openly racist, and transphobic.
I also said that he didn't deserve to die, and I mean that. I'm just describing reality.
Well, the reality is that people are being fired for not being sad enough, like your former coworker, Karen Natia.
Yikes. And the Secretary of War is firing people in the government who weren't nice about Charlie KIRK on social media. Okay, but you can't fire me. I'm an independent journalist. Also,
I am me. No, sir, you are you.
Classic.
I say you are you, but you say you're me.
I just saw Reflect the Sun write that John Cullen, and I'm not sure who that is, has figured it out to be from our own CIA from a drone with acoustic and flight data. Interesting. I have to look that up. I haven't seen it. But yeah, I mean, this is not adding up, right?
It's not. And you look, there's a lot. This is already JFK, right? They've got footage of another, apparently you see what looks like a bullet coming from window, a spark, a bullet. And people are saying, for one, there should be a bullet. That's why they're like, this revelation that somehow he stopped the bullet is news because the bullet stayed inside him, even though it clearly punctured his neck, and your neck is probably not going to stop a bullet. Let's be real. But somehow it miraculously did. But anyway, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going, and there's a lot of stuff that is very suspect, like without a doubt.
I mean, yeah, there really is. Okay, let's watch the last one, and then we can talk about it and the responses to it. Do you have it, or should I?
Oh, go for it.
Because now I can't find it, of course. Wait 1 second. Oh yeah, okay, I got it right here.
Oh, this giant thing that's wrapped in a towel? It's a pool cue, a guitar science project. It's a psychological operation to see if people really believe what the FBI say, but it's definitely not a rifle. Do they really think that we're that fucking stupid? There's gonna be no videos of this guy walking around with this in a towel, or in a backpack that doesn't fit, or down his fucking pant leg. This is my shortest rifle, okay? We're not fucking stupid.
What do you think is happening here? Because, you know, a few people have pointed out, like, would, you know, they had just had the staged intervention in the Hamptons with Bill Ackman, where Netanyahu calls in and offers a ton of money, offers a state visit, both of which apparently Charlie KIRK rejected. Like, but would they really move that quickly to assassinate him, like, right then? Was it like something? There's a lot that's not adding up for me, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
Look, to me, it makes absolute sense that Israel would have had him murdered.
Yeah.
Right. He's the linchpin to the young people staying with the MAGA movement, and the MAGA movement is the linchpin to keeping support for Israel alive. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
So most likely it was them. I mean, when you turn down $50 million, that's sort of like you're untouchable, right? You don't need $150 million. Well, if you don't need $150 million, you could say anything. You know, you're not playing along with the fascist stuff. And he was clearly pivoting somewhat, and he doesn't have to pivot all the way to being pro-Palestine and anti-Israel, but just keeping the question alive and some of the things he said is enough to plant doubt in some of his young people that really look up to him.
Yeah. I mean, that is my initial thought anyway. And I know we sometimes have like it's not really semantic discussion, but like, I don't think there's a difference really between Israel and the US. Like, I think they are the 51st state, and, you know, whether it's the CIA or Mossad or Netanyahu or any of our leaders, you know, to me, it's all sort of the same. So I do think that not being able to control the young Republican MAGA crowd is a real problem. And we saw what they did to the young left crowd of smashing their heads in, doxing them, denying them employment, you know, sending them off to countries they've never been to. So yes, I mean, they take this very seriously if you step out of line a bit. And what you just said is also, I think, really important, is Charlie KIRK was wealthy enough that he could refuse $150 million. So when you have somebody that for whatever reason he decided he wouldn't take that money, that is no longer somebody you can control. So I think that's a really good point.
And, you know, the proof is in the pudding. Who's going to take over? Men.
Like,
right. So you take a guy who was, you take a guy who is pivoting somewhat, at least critical.
Yeah.
And he gets, his audience is now handed over to Ben Shapiro, the most pro-Israel guy there is out there, you know, that reaches the young people. So that's a huge win for them. How are they not suspect number one? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I mean, I agree. I was like, because I'm hearing the pushback and I'm trying to take it all in. The Shapiro Daily Wire takeover happened so quickly without an ounce of decorum. Like, I can't even imagine doing something like that and not thinking that all eyes would turn to you or whoever supports you, right? Like, that's crazy. Who does that?
Maybe
Right away?
Shapiro did it.
Yeah, right.
Not
But,
really,
like,
not really
why,
floating that.
why would you even do something like that quickly? Right? Like, so quickly. How about, oh, we're going to go dark for a week to pay respect and figure out what's happening. We're all in such turmoil, but clearly nobody's in turmoil. Trump, when he's asked, and which is the thing that Jimmy Kimmel got fired over, right? He said, oh, MAGA's trying to claim that this guy wasn't theirs, which MAGA was trying to do that, right? And the left was hoping it wasn't theirs. Everybody was hoping this guy had nothing to do with us because we know that then you'll be a target. But like, that wasn't, I don't think that was the worst part of the Jimmy Kimmel set, according to Donald Trump. It was making fun of Donald Trump, clearly not giving a single fuck about his dear friend who helped deliver him the youth vote. Because the reporter says, how are you holding up the day after Charlie Kirk is assassinated? And he is like, pretty good. We're making this ballroom over here. They never could, like, it was insane. And so Jimmy Kimmel made fun of the lack of emotion from Trump. But like, all of this, nobody's even trying to look not guilty, which is interesting. Oh no, Pat, why does it keep happening? Like, what is the thing that triggers it? You're muted again.
I don't know, but I know how to fix it quick.
Okay, good.
I just have to have this app up.
Okay. So I asked, why do you think nobody's even trying to look not guilty?
Right. And then Yahoo's out there doing 2 I didn't do it videos, and every time he talks, it looks like, dude, you are totally behind this. Right.
So like, what's that? Why is he doing that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think some people have said it's to show, how powerless we are or whatever, but they just legitimately think like he's their leader. So he puts out the talking point that we couldn't do it. And then everybody else is like, oh, it's just like they come after Israel when there's a tornado. Oh, Israel's behind the tornado, and they all have the same talking point now, that it's just like Israel controls the world. Israel control the weather.
Right. So do you think it's Benjamin Netanyahu putting his face out there, one, to show his still like alignment with the MAGA right and Republicans, because clearly he's lost Democrats, but also to kind of gin up the anti-Semitism because he kind of feeds off
probably.
Of that? Yeah,
probably. I mean, the simple answer is just if he didn't answer to it, it would give credence to him being a part of it as well. So it's just like, oh, he addressed it twice. Now he doesn't have to talk about it. Didn't do it. So now we're good.
And now what do you think the response is going to be that Tucker Carlson basically during his eulogy just said, Jews killed Jesus and they killed Charlie Kirk too? Because, obviously that's different. So first of all, Romans killed Jesus, we know, blah, blah, whatever, but it's been a big blood libel against Jews for, 2 millennia that it was Jews who killed Jesus. So, okay, that's one thing. But in the last 2 years, especially, there has been a huge push to say Israel and Zionists are not necessarily representative of Jews. And then right away, Tucker Carlson just like puts it together and continues the blood libel and then says, and Jews killed him. I don't know. It's just like,
it's really weird, but I think it comes down to what I said earlier, that, Kirk, Tucker, Candace Owens, they're not truth tellers, right? They're grifters. They're all grifters, right? But part of their whole aura is existing on their own and being independent, even though they're largely not, and they haven't been over the years.
Yeah.
But now those 3 got so rich from all this stuff that they had the option to be independent.
Right.
And I think Charlie took it, and that's the biggest threat to this ecosystem that there is.
Yeah, it is. And now the biggest threat to us is people like Tucker Carlson who there is a move from some people to make him a truth teller and not just somebody who's sort of like both anti-Semite, bigot, white supremacist, or both. I said three things, but and because he's independent of the powers that be, as you said, but he is still reliant on subscription and popularity and people listening to him. So, and I am seeing people in our chat, and I feel the same, that this convergence of the far right who are now slightly turning against Israel and becoming pro-Palestine, I don't think from every other thing they've ever said. We just showed the clip of Charlie KIRK saying that Muslims, can't throw gay people out of buildings anymore because we've decimated all of their buildings, and fuck you, Muslims, for killing Jews. And then, so he's not like a pro-Palestine guy, but he can use that to also stoke some anti-Semitism. And I feel like I'm seeing with these far right people, their shift against Israel is because of the America Firsters who are like, why are we? I mean, I think obviously there are a lot of people who are watching the slaughter and are horrified.
Right. And I think a lot of it,
yeah.
I think a lot of it goes hand in hand with disillusionment with Trump and with the economic policies and the fact that, you got all the farmers going broke. MAGA pointed the blame on all the immigrants, right? And then the immigrants being pulled and the tariffs being put on all these food groups is harming the working class, farming, the white working class the most, right? So there's some sort of like, you need a new target to blame on this.
Right.
Well, the clear thing is we ran on America First, MAGA, our country.
Yep.
Why is all this happening over there that we could help our farmers out if we just send a few less bombs and think, it's the natural evolution. And if you're MAGA and you can't scream about immigrants being the problem when you've kicked so many people out of the country already, well, who are you going to blame? You got to blame somebody.
Yeah. So you blame the Zionists, you blame Israel, which becomes blaming Jews. You are still not a friend to Palestinians or Muslims. You're still like a white supremacist, but now you get to kind of ride both lanes, right? So
you don't care about sending aid over.
Yeah.
You don't want to fund the wars. That's all, which was also part of his campaign, less wars. And then he goes and creates the Administration of War or Department of War. It's pretty clear to, I think, a lot of MAGA folks that he's betrayed them.
Yeah, I think so too. But I do, again, like the biggest issue happening right now, obviously, is the genocide of Palestinians. But the things that are being put in place along with that or in service of that are harmful. There's a lot of downstream effects, and the shift now to anti-Jewish sentiment and conflating Jews with Israel, and the sort of, like what we were talking about with Tina on Thursday, the noticers are becoming more prominent as they boost some pro-Palestine, like genuinely authentic pro-Palestinian content. But they are the noticers who are just asking questions of why is it that Jews always do this? And why is it, and so it is, they are really fomenting so much hatred, and they're hoping for a civil war. Clearly that's what's happening.
Yeah. And look, the left is, Democratic Party is going along with it way more than they should, because they also know the left is progressive left is a threat to them.
Yep. Yeah. So it is, it is scary times.
Did we, I wanted to show, I hate boosting a Democrat, but Ilhan Omar handled this Kirk situation really well.
Like one of the few. Yep.
Props to her for this. So Yeah, here we go. Elon.
I just think it was the video where it called him Dr. Frankenstein and said his monster shot him through the neck. I mean, obviously this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath of
what I find jarring is that there's so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
Here.
One of the few, here to her, certainly. And I mean, the hate that she is getting online and in person. I mean, this is, again, like, as much of a buffoon as he is, he's evil, and he is the leader right now of the quote unquote free world. And to have Trump in the Oval Office saying these words about her is, I mean, it's disgraceful, but it's also, I think, a little terrifying.
Ilhan Omar, after his assassination, called Charlie KIRK a reprehensible human being. Should she be stripped of her community assignments?
I would say, I think she's a disgraceful person. I think she's a disgraceful person, a loser. It's amazing the way people vote. I know it's people from her area, maybe of the world. I don't know. They got here and they vote her in. It's hard to believe, but I think she's a disgusting person.
And one more question, if I could.
That's the president of the United States. And then you've got, Nancy Mace and Laura Loomer. And I mean, like, everybody's coming after her. It is dangerous, as much as, Zionists in this country like to talk about Jewish safety in this country. And yes, there have been, there was the Tree of Life massacre. I am not, pretending that there is not anti-Semitism and that it doesn't have the possibility of getting violent. But since October 7th, the Jewish safety in this country has mostly been not wanting to hear any pro-Palestinian protesters or rhetoric or from the river to the sea. And the true victims of violence have been Muslims in the US, or the two Israelis who the Jewish guy down in Florida thought were Palestinian, and they were actually Mizrahi Jews.
The only way you can come close to getting the numbers from the left and the right regarding violence close is to start claiming speech as violence.
Yeah.
And that's, we're going to get into the First Amendment stuff later, but that's what they've done. Anytime they're out there saying we have a violence problem on the left, no, the left is using their speech and yelling and screaming and doing everything they can. And the violence you might get on the left is, someone I know spray painted your car or something.
Yeah.
That's
like
that's
violence against property. Yeah. Or punching a Nazi. Like, I will watch Richard Spencer get hit in the face every day of the week. But I mean, obviously killing somebody is different, but also I think that is a kind of terrorism that Trump is bringing to bear on, one of the few Muslims in Congress, and knowing that Muslim Americans in this country are targeted, right? So like, that's pretty scary to have him gin up that kind of hate against somebody. Right. I think she's really, I do think she's really courageous. I think she's one of, she and Rashida Tlaib Summer Lee are probably the three. Would you add anybody to that? Those are my three.
I don't even want them on the list. I'm so disappointed in them as well. But yeah,
I know.
I'll take 2 of them.
Should we spin before we move on to the First Amendment and the real tragedy, which is the firing of Jimmy Kimmel, or do you have some other thing like specifically here?
Well, we had some more stuff on the GFP. Are we going to get to it?
I know we're bobbing and weaving. Well, yeah, lead us where. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Well, just to so we can close out this section. I think obviously we titled the thing WRESTLEMANIA because this is the tone down the rhetoric, tone down the violence guy is going to have UFC fights at the White House
on the South Lawn.
On the South Lawn, and we're getting gold statues. I mean, with holding a Bitcoin, this is a real fucking thing happening here.
Now, just for the sake of accuracy, this statue was not put out by the White House. It was put out by some Bitcoin company. But I mean, I think Trump's made like $1 billion or more from his scamming his fans, his fan base out of money with Bitcoin. But yes, that is actually there. Yeah.
But they did create gold Trump head pins that some senators and Congress people are wearing now. Literal gold heads of Trump they're wearing on them. Like, what kind of allegiance bullshit is this? Like, this is fascism fucking in your face.
And it's that whole like, I mean, it's right out of a playbook or like central casting, right? Where like, yeah, that's the other thing is publicly telling Pam Bondi that she has to start prosecuting his political enemies. That's insane. And nothing's going to happen. He's just like publicly. I mean, some people are thinking that maybe his truth post where he spells it all out, where he says to her, what are you doing? You got to act faster. This whole long thing. I mean,
this is the one that was deleted that they say that the accusation is that this was a direct private DM message or something to her.
Yeah, he meant to message her directly, privately, but he did it as a truth post. I've reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing's being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put in a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who is never going to do his job. That's why 2 of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit and that we had no case. No, I fired him, and there is a great case and many layers, and legal pundits say so. Lindsay is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. President AT. I have no idea. That is wackadoo.
Okay. That's wackadoo, but also I guarantee there was no way this was a DM message.
You think he meant Trump to be public?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I do.
Trump is not using semicolons, quote. He's not calling Adam Shifty Shift in a private DM. You're not going to go to the energy to put in quotes a person's name with a nickname to somebody you're privately talking to like that. It's just not happening.
That's
like
for sure.
It's just like the FBI shit with the Kirk shooter, the text message exchange. It's created. He's not going to use his all caps thing that he does.
Right. When he's just talking to her privately. Oh my God.
Well, somebody told him either strategically he put this out and pulled it back like, oh, that's for private use. So he wouldn't seem so aggressive.
Right.
Or somebody said this is a bad tweet, whatever, but it was a tweet. Come on.
And I mean, we just saw him with all of the British royalty and all of the oligarchs, the tech oligarchs in Britain at this, I mean, just the Gilded Age ostentatious display of riches, wealth that they've stolen from all the countries they have, invaded and exploited. And then, you come back to, which is disgusting. Like, we're not supposed to be a monarchy here. And you come back, and this is Trump giving a little tour of how he's redecorated.
Gold.
Thousands, actually, of pictures, beautiful paintings, some of them in the vault for over 100 years. And we added a lot of 24 karat gold, and it's very expensive and I think very beautiful. When you look at the fireplace, when you have a leader sitting on the one side and the other side, and you look at what's behind where the light's beaming, and that's all 24 karat gold, and that's why it just beams.
Was it not gold before this was?
No, it wasn't. They didn't have really any gold. They didn't have gold, and they do now. That was actually a flat piece of marble, there for a long time, but a flat piece of marble. And I just felt it was important for this office to take on a look that's appropriate. It was, the walls were painted, but it was still the Oval Office, by the way, but the walls were painted now. The walls are much more than painted. So people have loved it. The leaders of other countries have loved it when they come in. And it's, you know, more representative of what it should be.
I can't believe this is real. Honestly, it's a bad Saturday Night Live sketch, and we're just living through it for the second time. What the fuck?
And it really is, you know, his supporters would support him if he went out and shot people in the streets all over again. Like, because this is here. Well, farmers are just all going broke. I mean, they're broke, but they're losing their farms. They're not even going to be making food anymore. And here he is, decides now's the time to show off his fucking gold palace. You know, it's amazing.
I mean, they are asking for what's coming to them. And I think they know it. Like, they are accelerationists. They know, because they know that they've destroyed our planet. I mean, I really do think that, like, it all comes back to the thing that first sort of radicalized me, which was being so anxious about my children's future because of climate, you know, and seeing the projections, reading climate scientists and knowing we're like, when were the Paris climate agreements? We haven't lowered anything since then. That was another big show. We all signed a pledge. Doesn't matter if we're in it or we're not, or who's in it or not. We are, it's beyond, right? So they know what's happening. They know what they've done. And I think part of the reason it feels like it's happening so fast for some of us is because they have known for decades, actually, and they've been preparing for what's going to happen to them when all of this really culminates in, you know.
Well, when it comes to climate, look, they're creating shortages so that they can push this narrative that national security depends on energy reliant, you know, being able to produce our own energy is a national security issue, right? So now it's like, well, yeah, we wanted to do something about the climate, but like, if we don't go to war over there, or if we don't, you know, whatever, we won't be energy independent. So we gotta just stave off those, you know, things that we all agreed to for a while, because right now energy independence is more important than anything.
Which is hilarious because, you know, I mean, we can talk about it after, but the energy prices are all set to skyrocket because all of these data centers that are being built basically to replace us are also going to steal our resources, water, air, energy, as they take us down.
Yeah, it's all happening. We're letting it happen, and we're accelerating it if we're using AI.
Yes, we absolutely are. All right, wait. All right, should we?
Yeah.
Should we? Like, is there any? Because I mean, I know we have a lot of other stuff, but like, if we want to, what do you want to get?
Yeah. Let's spin and move on to the First Amendment shit.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Or
yeah. Perfect. All right. I am spinning because I really need another glass.
Yeah, baby.
Which I'm taking regardless. Oh, there we go. Look at that.
All right. This What the Fuck Makes You Laugh. This is like I think it's a couple months old, but it's a classic. So
all right.
Here we go. Town Hall here.
Mr. Thilly, I started your time.
Why did our taxes go up so much?
Thank you, Mr. Thilly. I like the interpretive dance.
I love that guy.
Who is that?
It's Mr. Thilly. I don't know. It's one of those public forums where you know they. And recently, like somebody just got thrown out because they started stripping down naked, and there's all kinds of crazy shit happens to these local things. Anybody can have a minute at the microphone at most of these things.
Right. That's funny. Reagan's dad. I almost like, I don't even want to give the people in power a moment where they get to try to be funny or make light of it. You know what I mean? But that is funny that he does it. But like the people who are selling us out, I don't want them to enjoy any humor.
Right.
Okay. So the real problem in the last 2 years and beyond, but is the firing of Jimmy Kimmel. That is when fascism has really kicked in. The outrage from liberals who have said not a mumbling word for 2 years about kids getting their heads bashed in on college campuses by the direction of governors, Democratic mayors, Democratic presidents, ICE just kidnapping people off the street, sending them to dungeons. None of that was really as significant to these people as the firing of Jimmy Kimmel.
It's amazing. And who's the other Jimmy? Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
So he's always been a company stooge, right?
Yeah.
And he puts out a little, and they're like, here's a video of Kimmel. He's going to keep fighting for us too, you know? And he does a little joke where they cut his mic and he says, "Oh, dear leader, you are the best, Trump," you know?
Right.
And it's like a ha-ha, he's making fun that there's fascism. But if you look past that, he's not calling him out directly. Like you should have had a serious moment.
Yeah.
You should have stopped and said, "Hey, I'm normally funny, but we have to do something about this. And this is unacceptable. He's my friend. Let's have a real talk for a minute."
Yeah. We have to put pressure. Everybody cancel your Disney Plus Hulu subscriptions, cancel ABC. The oligarchs are not going to be fighting for our rights. We've seen what's happened over the last 2 years. They've done nothing except put pressure and attack people who are fighting against a genocide that our country is funding, arming, and running cover for, that we're completely complicit in. And even though this is just a blip on the fascism that has already been happening, this is a real clarion call. Let's all come together. Nope, none of that. Instead, you have Chris Hayes saying this is the most straightforward attack on free speech from state actors I've ever seen in my life, and it's not even close. Sean King, I know everybody has different opinions on him, but anyway, writes and says, "I'm assuming you're not counting immigrants being jailed for supporting Gaza." And Chris Hayes says, "No, literally mean all of it, including that." You had a moment. And then, and I'm sure a lot of people know this account, We've Been Mutuals Forever, player in the game, on Twitter. And she posted a few days later this clip with Ben Smith, who's one of the editors at Semaphore, on Chris Hayes' show.
That's my own feeling. It's the state coercion to me that's so new here, but it's also totally run together in the minds of the right people, people who are right. They see no distinction.
I think that's right. And I also think, I think actually what you saw with Mahmoud Khalil is that in some ways he is less vulnerable than Jimmy Kimmel. The people who are most vulnerable are the employees of big, consolidated mega corporations.
Right, yeah. Although he's about to get deported.
Who are very exposed to regulatory action. And I think, Bernie Sanders used to go around ranting about the corporate media. And honestly, as somebody who worked my career in corporate media, I never really got it. Like, I was not subject to government.
The state coercion, and we all are more vulnerable than people like Mahmoud Khalil, who a judge just said can be deported after spending 3 months in jail.
Yeah, how do you forgive Chris Hayes' response to Sean King? That's just fucking disgusting, dude. Like, this one white guy is more of a
millionaire, multi-millionaire.
Yeah. I mean, it is on the deeper context. You've lost all the late night hosts. So all the comedy that can go after the presidents it's going to just be gone. So that is significant. It's very significant. And it's all under, it's not a ratings issue. They want us to think it's a ratings issue. It's not a ratings issue. It's a power issue of caving to the president, because these medias, they want to keep consolidating, and there's all these mergers coming up. That's what it's all about. The president could stop them from making billions of dollars in each case. But when you remove the effect of this, is our old folks who only watch CNN and MSNBC and then the late show before they go to bed no longer have the late show before they go to bed. You know, they no longer have jokes there. I mean, I know this is not, I'm not trying to be a Chris Hayes agreeer, but I do think it's a huge thing.
Sorry. I'm reading posts, and I got your last point, but will you say your first point again? It is a huge thing for libs. It is awful that this is happening. But what was your first part of it? I'm really sorry that it's only happening because all of these major media conglomerates want to make sure that their deals go through.
It's a financial deal. Them caving is more important than this one guy, obviously. Them caving to make money, because there's capitalism is more important than stopping fascism, is what we're seeing with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, I know we have talked about this, but the idea that this is somehow new and that Democrats did not set the stage for this by, Hillary saying that the protesters were pro-Hamas, as did Nancy Pelosi, Biden, Biden interfering even on the Hunter laptop story and making sure that he got 51 ex-CIA agents or FBI agents to say it had all the hallmarks of Russian interference. So that got scrapped before the election in 2020.
Adam Schiff trying to censor me, trying to get my Twitter account taken down. If you didn't stand up for that, I don't give a fuck about Jimmy Kimmel. But literally the papers, I forget what they're called, when they were the Twitter emails saga, when the Democrats were caught writing
the Dem leaks.
The Dem leaks. Yeah. They were caught exposed, trying to get people shut down who were critical of Democrats. And it was it was progressives. Yep. It was them going after the left wing online to censor us, directly asking Congress to intervene.
And Twitter actually suppressed 2/3 of the Dem leak tweets. They just suppressed it. And that was in 2016. And by the way, they also, I'm sorry, but I don't think that banning Trump from Twitter was a good idea. I don't think that all the pressure against Joe Rogan for spreading misinformation and getting him off Spotify, that was, that came from the Biden administration, pressuring Spotify. That, to me, that is where it all starts. And sure, if, possibly if they had then countered, all they needed to do was counter with real accurate information. And they didn't. They just wanted to go with their own get back on.
And I think one key piece of censorship we're leaving out is the pandemic was used to silence people online. Yeah. And these are the people I disagree with the most, the people that were spreading misinformation. And it is important to have a system that checks that somehow. I like what Twitter does with the community notes, for example. Mm-hmm. It can be abused, of course, but I think that's the direction you should go with it instead of censorship. But a lot of the censorship talk we hear from the right is it's payback for them shutting us all down because during COVID, we couldn't talk about things, And so it's this, no matter how not real it necessarily is, the Democrats did try to silence a lot of voices under the cover of COVID.
Actually turned out to be either possibly right or whatever, but
no,
you weren't talking about where the virus possibly came from. Was it a lab leak? We weren't allowed to talk about that. You weren't allowed to.
We had our own show shut down several times over misinformation for COVID, and it was not misinformation.
Because they didn't like that we said, yes, take the vaccination or don't. Like I do, and I've been very open about that. I don't judge people for not. I know there are lots of reasons that people are hesitant to take the vaccination, but also still wear masks. And they thought that by saying there are sometimes vaccine injuries and wear a mask anyway was somehow an anti-vax message, because the vaccine, they lied and said it was a sterilizing vaccine, and it was not. And they knew it. And that's the thing. They knew it. It'd be one thing if they didn't. And still, I still think it was worth it to take that vaccine. I still know that it saved millions of lives the very first course of it, but we all should have continued to wear masks, and fucking monster Bill Gates should not have stuck his face in it to force companies, his, big pharma companies, not to release or to waive patent, because that would have saved many more millions of lives.
Absolutely. And we're not doing COVID tonight, really, but I have a short clip of Dr. Robert Redfield, former Surgeon General, just so you know, like the people that don't follow COVID very closely, I think most of our audience is at least COVID informed for the most part.
Yep.
But if you take what we knew in the beginning, okay, we were the cautious people because we didn't trust the science and we were trying to watch what the science is doing. But now we're completely vindicated on being right on the science and how bad COVID is and whatnot. And so here's him now, 5 years later, talking about long COVID at a HHS meeting they had.
4 years, 5 years ago, I would have argued pretty aggressively that there's not viral persistence with COVID. Now, in the last 2.5, 3 years, I'm totally convinced that there's viral persistence in long COVID. A number of the patients that they failed to clear the virus. This is a chronic viral infection.
That was really low. He was saying that the virus persists and it is chronic, and you're not able to clear the infection, and that's long COVID.
Right.
Sorry, it was really hard to hear. Yeah.
No, I didn't realize it was that low either. But the point is, it's very similar to AIDS in that people get sick initially, you get over it, you don't, you have a flu, whatever. Most people clear it out. Some people, it just never goes away, right? But for most people, even those that develop long COVID, there's a period where it's just incubating somewhat inside you, infecting cells, doesn't go away. Just like AIDS. When you had AIDS initially, people got a cold, a flu kind of thing. And then 7 years later, you have this, because when you don't clear something from your body, it's going to cause some harm. And that's what this is about.
But
and
even
so now all these people that were telling us otherwise are, if they're real scientists and doctors, the data is so fucking clear on this stuff. So here he is admitting it.
Yep. And also just because even if you have not yet developed any form of long COVID, your body, they still find it in your cells. So even people who appear to be completely recovered, it is still, they find it in their cells. So it is not, you do not clear it, whether you are manifesting any signs of long COVID or not. That is what those are the studies that I am reading. Like, it stays in there. You do not know when it might reawaken some dormant virus in you. I just want to cheers to Steve Breedlove. Thank you for the super chat. In my opinion, this isn't a free speech issue. It isn't novel. In the 19-teens, U.S. Postmaster shut down every leftist paper, government censorship. This is corporate. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. Well, they're all self-censoring because they have money to be made if they censor. So they're like, we can make $2 billion if we suck up to Trump, and even, hey, let's lose a lawsuit on purpose, knowing we have a slam dunk lawsuit because he has the power to approve our merger deal.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all capitalism, money, fascism. Thank you, Steve, for the super chat. Yes, it's like lots of other viruses, which are now really, it's like, for researchers, it's actually making them go back, revisit other viruses and realizing that probably it's not good to reinfect ourselves with anything, actually,
Absolutely. And they're having some success treating long COVID with AIDS antivirals. So,
China's
that should tell you something.
Since 2022, since 2022, right? China's been doing that.
Yeah.
God damn it. All right. So the big push, that like the script was already written, as we've talked about, where they were going to use Charlie Kirk's death to right away, come down hard, even harder on social media, on pro-Palestinian accounts, on free speech, on terrorism. They are just going to label anything terrorism. But this started under the Biden administration because, we've heard the testimony of Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL saying, we have a TikTok problem. We have a social media problem. We are losing the younger generation because they are getting, he didn't say this next part, they are getting real information, videos from Palestinians on the ground, seeing the genocide we're all carrying out. And in order to change people's minds back to being pro-Israel, which we've worked for decades with our Hasbara to make everybody think that Israel has a right to defend itself and Palestinians just don't, they're bad neighbors and they don't want peace. We have got to shut down TikTok. So congratulations, everybody. It is now going to Ellison, Murdoch, the biggest oligarchs and Zionists in the world, who will now basically own all of our media.
Yeah, and the deal is that we get to run the algorithm. And by we, I mean the evil people, evil Zionists specifically that you mentioned. They're going to control the algorithm, which means just like on Twitter, I'm getting like a tweet that I knew was a banger would get a couple hundred retweets before is like getting 20,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're really shutting us down.
Yep. So let's see
and I'm not saying that because I care about my tweets getting shared. I'm just saying,
no, but I can definitely
the pro-Palestine stuff is
difference.
Getting suppressed like crazy right now.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I get I get notices from Twitter saying like, oh, we're putting a warning on yours, or we're suppressing. They don't say suppressing viewership, but they say like, whatever, this doesn't meet our standards.
Yeah.
Okay. So the war on terror and the left, which, we've been seeing this obviously forever, but like when Biden first came into office, there was that list of domestic violent extremists. And, sorry, I knew this is what I wanted to come back to. Zainab wrote earlier that they used RICO charges on the Cop City protesters, which they did. They also did on the socialist African, I'm going to get their name completely wrong, but who were also protesting Cop City. But like then it became anybody aiding them, anybody giving, even if you deliver food, if you support them, if now it's probably going to be if you are a lawyer who is defending them, it's going to be a lot like Palestine Action in the UK. I think they are going to make, these are terrorist organizations, as we've said, Antifa, the trans agenda, terror, you can bomb, drone strike 3 different small boats off the coast of Venezuela and just be like, oh yeah, they were terrorists who were drug dealer, rapists, gang leaders, and you're just killing people with no evidence that they've done anything wrong. So you become, the judge, the jury, the executioner. They do that to protesters. When Biden first came in, there was the domestic violent extremists that listed Antifa, anti-capitalist, pro-climate protesters. So again, like this all started before Trump. And so now we've got them all basically saying that the left are the real terrorists and it's war, as Democrats are scrambling to pay homage to Charlie Kirk, and they're making the left, they're all going to come together, as they always do, to destroy the small fibers of the left that still exist.
Yep. And like I said last week, and we'll continue to say it, it's not that we all have to get arrested, you know, it's just, they've scared people into against talking. And if you just do that, if you just shut down 25% of the noise, you've done your job with this fascism, you know, and so you're scared to tweet something because you got a job that, you know, your wife needs natal care, or, you know, whatever, or you need, you know, services provided by your job, healthcare, you know, so you're like, I can't risk my job by tweeting about this. And that's already happening now, you know. And the Charlie KIRK thing, the mob going after people who just were slightly not on board, you know, like slightly supporting, calling him a bad guy, like not necessarily even saying I loved his murder, but you should be able to say I loved his murder. I mean, honestly, let's be real. That's the whole point. But people are scared to talk about it now because the mob, they've gotten what they want. The mob is out.
I mean, I do feel like that idea that like the Epstein blackmail project has been so amplified by AI because they have it's all about pre-crime and intention, and it doesn't matter if you haven't done it yet because you seem like somebody who might. You are aligned with the wrong people. They can shut off your banking. They can shut off, they can get you fired. Like they can blackmail you for random tweets or private posts because and
it costs them nothing to do this now.
All of it. Yeah.
Is the point. It costs them nothing to do it. And it just escalates. Like they have these, you know, these bots out there scrubbing what people say, you know, they're scrubbing our video every night on Punch Up Pod, picking up keywords, and then that's going to authorize them to go to the next level of surveillance. And then they're going to watch your tweets. And then, well, now they can check in with your boss and say, hey, do you know he's tweeting this stuff? And he said on this podcast on February 18th that this guy should be dead. You know, should we fire him? You know, do you support this? And then your boss is scared because just, you know, look at all these, when these media conglomerates are caving to the pressure, think about what your boss at your little small business might do. You know, I mean, it's fascism.
It truly is. And, you know, I mean, listen, on a much smaller scale, like we haven't worked basically since the strike 2 years ago. So like it sucks. It's really hard. And there are things that, I mean, this is so dumb and little, but like there are things that I would have posted on Facebook, but like that's where our, you know, the few people who have not blocked us who are in the industry are, and like we need a job, or we're like we have to pack up and go live with one of our moms, basically. Like we've made no money. We have no money. And I am a little more mindful right now as all of our credit card companies and car companies and everybody we owe money to is calling 20 times a day, and I'm getting texts and emails and I'm just ignoring everything. So that is like incredibly frightening. I am applying for jobs, but then I'm like, oh my God, like I have my whole, like, of course, the first thing they do is look at your social media. And my husband, who's, you know, I think he mostly agrees with what I say, but he's not as vocal about it and never has been. But I think there's a very good chance that all of the Zionists who have employed him before in Hollywood really don't, like, I know they've defriended us in real life. So like we're possibly not getting hired for things because of that. And there are, you know, again, not like Crimea River, there are way worse things happening, but like we are all feeling it in different ways and the effects are real.
No, it's a very real McCarthyism. The difference is like, it's not your neighbors pointing at you out even. It's just some bots scrubbing the internet pointing you out at this point.
Yeah.
At a much faster, more effective level, which is why we have to fight it harder than ever.
We really do. And then, you know, I see, so there, I mean, this kind of made me laugh on some level, but then you know, somebody who reposted it is like, oh, and this is how you die in the operating room. This was Zuckerberg's big display of his AI technology to do a recipe, which also it's like, open a fucking book. Like, what do you like, there are recipe books, or look at like, but anyway, it might just be as mundane as this, how some of us go out.
I've made before, so I could definitely use the help. Hey Meta, start live AI.
Starting live AI. I love the setup you have here with soy sauce and other ingredients. How can I help?
Hey, can you help me make a Korean-inspired steak sauce for my steak sandwich here?
You can make a Korean-inspired steak sauce using soy sauce, sesame oil.
What do I do
brown
first?
sugar.
What do I do first?
You've already combined the base ingredients, so now grate a pear to add to the sauce.
What do I do
Scalpel,
first?
please.
You've already combined the base ingredients, so now grate the pear and gently combine it with the base sauce.
All right, I think the Wi-Fi might be messed up. Sorry, back to you, Mark.
It's all good. You know what? It's all good. It's, the irony of the whole thing is that you spend years making technology and then the Wi-Fi at the day kind of catches you. All right, anyway, we'll go check out what he made later. Okay.
You know, I watched a TikTok from somebody in medical school.
Yeah.
And it was really frightening. He says everyone in their medical school, because they allow them to use tablets while they take tests even, right? And they're all cheating their way through the tests. And he says, like, the top guys in their class don't know anything. And he was trying to put the warning out that this is a very real problem of, like, the reliance on AI and technology and not actually your brain power. It's significantly going to harm us as a people, like, across the board.
It certainly is. We're going to lose our brain power, right? Because you know, use it or lose it, and our muscles atrophy when they're not used, and basic sort of skills of cognition will be tamped down. But the other thing is, like, the whole idea of, like, mentoring so that you can move up and be well prepared. So, like, when they cut out all of the entry-level jobs, because it's just so much easier, you know, whether it's for legal practices or whatever it is, like what you're saying, like, okay, so now we're relying on AI to do the sort of, like, boring drudge work, but that also, like, gets your brain going, that gets you learning about case history or whatever it is that needs to then buttress your ability to do a job competently. And you've like siphoned all of that off to AI, then yeah, exactly. So then what happens? Like, you're just given a scalpel, or you're put in front of the Supreme Court. Like, you have no substance.
And then the Wi-Fi dies.
Yeah. I love that he blames it on that.
What?
He's like, oh, no
Wi-Fi.
big deal. No big deal. I'm already a billionaire, and I'm, like, stealing all the water and the energy and resources and replacing all your jobs with this bullshit that can't even do a recipe. That's crazy.
It reminds me when I worked at Earthlink, which was internet company. We sold internet, and
I remember
we had
Earthlink.
shitty internet. We had shitty internet, and you know, I'd have to explain to people our internet was down all the time.
Yeah.
You're calling us for internet. Sorry, our internet's down.
But that's not even true, because it wasn't the internet. She just could not compute what he was asking her.
Yeah, no, I know. It's
No,
just-
I know you know. I mean, I know you, but like that, it's just like, it wasn't the internet. He's such a little liar. All right. We have a couple of sort of, I mean, I know we really are bobbing and weaving here, but
Wait a minute. I just got to
Yeah.
ask Justin, where'd you work? Did you work at Mindspring that we merged with? I'm just curious. Anyway,
Yeah.
tell me in the comments. Moving on.
Well, so I don't know which one of these might get it blacked out or tagged, because I'm sure they're all owned by other people. But just to return a little bit to what a laughing stock we are in the rest of the world, this is a satire of Disney, because they just, you know, bent the knee to Trump and his, you know, MAGA. It's a Dutch talk show host, Lubach, I think his name is. And this was the satire that he just put out on his show.
We bring you a whole new Disney. There are new stories to be told.
Oh, Belle, you're so hot. If you weren't my daughter, I'd probably be dating you.
I can show you the world. New songs to be sung.
We don't talk about Jeffrey, no. We don't talk about Jeffrey.
New sequels to timeless classics.
Lock her up!
Okay, now I'm gonna grab you by the pussy. Where is your pussy?
Because not every voice needs to be heard.
Bambi, trans women are women.
Olaf, you are made out of snow, right?
Yes.
So that means climate change isn't real.
Making our company great again with brand new adventures.
I'm gonna go suck Donald Trump's dick.
The new Disney. It's a small world after all.
I mean, I love it. If that was what Jimmy Kimmel was doing, I would have a little more sympathy for him. But, you know, they just do the lowest hanging fruit that doesn't actually, you know.
Yeah. Where was that anyway? Who showed
from,
that?
Holland.
Oh, Holland. Okay,
It
gotcha.
was from Holland. It was some talk show host there, some Dutch talk show.
It's amazing. They have a fan. I'll watch them if I can.
Yeah, I
find
know.
them.
The name is Lubach, Lubach, a Dutch talk show.
Got it.
But that was good, right? It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm right.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me, like, Colbert used to be so goddamn funny on his show, and he went to the show and he just softened everything, and he's gone, and he was so soft. I mean, he was critical of Trump, you know, fairly frequently, but it was just the lowest hanging fruit, not funny.
Yeah. I mean, if that's all you're doing and acting like, oh, if only we had Kamala or Biden, or not blaming, you know, acting like this is an anomaly and has not been a bipartisan project, and it's the culmination of our neoliberal capitalist country, like, you're missing the whole point, because Trump's going to be gone, and then it's going to be JD Vance and Peter Thiel, or Kamala and Mayor Pete, who she apparently thinks is too gay.
Yeah, in her book, she was like, I would, you know, the people, they wouldn't have accepted it, you know, like nobody cares. I mean, look, the left would have supported you more for that ticket, even though I hate fucking both of the people.
Yeah, I mean, I will never vote for either one of them, but like, that wasn't the problem. But they will throw every group under the bus just not to have to give us healthcare.
Yeah, and at the same time, they're throwing those groups under their bus. That's the ticket being floated right now. The one that in her own book says wouldn't have worked. Like
yeah,
we just have no power within the Democratic Party. They are the enemy. They really are.
They truly are the enemy. They are our enemy, but they're not the enemy of fascism. They are paving the way every chance they get. Okay, before we get to Democrats, we should just like finish, but like go back to anything else that we wanted to say. Just as a reminder who Josh Shapiro is, because she also, like, I do not really want to read her book, but I am sort of interested, because apparently she's just like, this is just her like spilling tea. I mean, like everything else, she doesn't take anything seriously. She's just going to throw everybody under the bus and, like, you know, release some dirt on each person. She says that Shapiro was too interested in himself and didn't think that she apparently, according to, like, you know, little snippets that have been released, thought that he was too concerned with his own career, and even asked like if he would be able to either decorate in a certain way or have certain paintings or something, right?
My take on it so far, from what I've read and seen clips of, she's attacking the other Democratic candidates to clear the way for her in 2028. That's it. It's that simple. She's throwing shade at Newsom that he didn't get back to her on her texts in time, and she's just hitting all the highlights of who her opponents were and trying to bring them down a notch so she could print the I was the girls t-shirts. You know?
That little girl was me.
That girl.
That little girl was me. But yes, just as a reminder, because, you know, when we had Tina on and there was so much stuff that we wanted to get to on Thursday with, you know, the dark web and stuff. And we sort of touched on the fact that this is a bipartisan project and that this is not the first time that the state, that the government, that the people in power have put pressure on the media to shut people down. Shapiro is another one who used his power as the governor of Pennsylvania to crack heads at UPenn and shut down pro-Palestinian students and ban, you know, Jewish Voices for Peace and pro-Palestinian student groups in service of his pro-Israel agenda. And that's in addition, the genocide, to helping the son of a family friend get away with murdering his girlfriend.
Well, I was going to say, and despite all of those views before, the helping his friend kill his, you know, not kill, cover up killing his girlfriend, he was going to be the VP if the story didn't break about him covering up killing his girlfriend. So they didn't care about any of this other stuff. That was a plus, that he was so Zion. They would have lost harder for sure if they picked him instead of Waltz. Waltz was the only thing helping the ticket, and the first thing they did was say, shut Waltz the fuck up. We can't have him talking anywhere.
It's the only time that she was doing well, at the very beginning. Summer of Joy and Waltz, who is not a leftist, but I mean, like,
he's left-ish. I'll give him credit.
I mean,
I think he's a sincere guy.
I Democrat used to be like, people should be able to eat and have a whole, like, it's crazy that that's radical in this country. And again, like, I always want to delineate that it's not radical from the people of this country. Most people want all those just like dignified life, like human rights sort of deal. But they've figured out a way to label that as being radical, that we should not all be overworked, underpaid, underfed, no health care, doing a genocide, so that the top 1% can have hoard more wealth and resources than they could ever use in their whole lives.
100%. I just think it's really telling that Governor Waltz is one of the few Democrats on earth where he has pretty universal support in his own state. Like, show me another Democrat where half the Democrats don't also hate the guy.
Yep.
So he performed for his state and would have been
one vote lead for Democrats. He used that one. I'm sorry, my brain.
Yeah. So it takes away the argument that he didn't have a super majority,
right?
You know, he got this stud in a largely. It was a purple state, you know.
But purple people, red people, and blue people, when the actual people want to feed their children and have them have health care, right? So, like, all right. Yeah, I mean, Kimmy, I do think that's the only conclusion to come to. They just want us, like, they try to take us out with climate. They try to take us out with no healthcare. They try to take us out with COVID and no mitigations. They try to take us out with ICE. Like, those huge cop city, those are not being built for immigrants. Those are being built for us. That would make it okay if it's for immigrants. I'm just saying, like, it's going to.
No, of course, nobody doubted you on that.
Yeah.
I want to end this segment. And here I am with vote blue no matter who, apparently, but not really. But Ilhan Omar, again, brilliantly calling it out. I think this was the same segment on the stupidity of our leaders.
And he seems to have a real obsession with anyone that is an immigrant in this country that is not of European descent. You don't hear him talking about the accent of his wife and the fact that she came here as an immigrant or any of those things, or the fact that she gets to have an opinion even though nobody elected her into office. But he has an objection to a person who does serve over 700,000 constituents in Congress, who's literally elected, has the same certificate as he does. But I think for me is I feel embarrassed for him, because in these attacks, what he does, and I think with the likes of Nancy Mace, and whoever that Randy guy is, they expose themselves for how stupid they are. And that is embarrassing for us as a country, because these are people who are elected to positions of leadership. He's supposed to be the president of the United States, who's heading off to Europe to represent us. When he does, he's uneducated enough to understand that members of Congress can't be impeached. When you have Nancy and Randy saying, we're on it, we're going to impeach her. When they're saying they're going to deport me, knowing full well that you cannot deport an American citizen. What that displays for not just Americans, but folks on an international platform, is that our country is being led by idiots. And that is not something that we should be comfortable with as Americans, and that's not something that should make us proud. And so in this moment, I feel great sadness as an American that these are the kind of people that the world gets to see representing us.
So what do you think?
First of all, I do, she's one of the good ones. I do think she is mostly one of the good ones. I also think it's amazing what she suffered in the beginning stages of her life and fleeing war-torn Somalia. English is her second language. She speaks so beautifully, like way more articulate than, I'm not going to throw you under the bus, but than I am. And in the midst of having these like attacks on her from the most powerful people in the world, I do have, I have a lot of admiration for her. I really do.
And just say it like it is. This is uneducated and idiotic. You can't do the things he's saying. And if we let them get close to us, it's a pox on us for being such fucking cowards for not calling it out.
Yeah. And instead, we have, who is it now? Ezra Klein. Speaking with Ross Douthat on the New York Times little podcast thing, doing what they always do, and then right away, Nero Tanden's like, yeah, make that big tent, and basically he's saying we need to take political positions that'll make it more likely to win Senate seats in Kansas and Ohio and Missouri, trying to open your coalition to people who you didn't want to open to before, run pro-life Democrats. And I'm sorry that I'm not giving credit to the person who put these next 3 stills up, and I'm very sorry. But this is the Kansas abortion referendum, where a majority of people voted against the limitation of abortion rights in Kansas. This is Ohio, where a majority of the people voted for reproductive freedom and protections, abortion rights. And this is Missouri, who just a year ago voted yes for the right to reproductive freedom. And every time Democrats do this, it's the messaging. That's all they are concerned about, is to say we need more mansions, we need more Tammy, what's her fucking name? We need more people who lose, like the CIA lady who lost to Lindsey Graham because they wouldn't Charles Booker, who what's her name? Amy Graff. We need more Alyssa Slotkins. We need CIA right-wing Trump apologists if we want to be a strong big tent Democratic Party. We just need to be Republicans. They're always going to do that. That's their whole job.
And the math doesn't work on that message. They know it's bullshit, but they need an alternative to we need to be more progressive. And that's all they can manage to come up with.
I truly despise them. And it is what they always do. And it doesn't matter how much they lose. When the left loses once, that's the example that they will use forever. Well, it doesn't work when Hillary and John Kerry and Gore and Kamala, and when they all lose and hand over the reins to Trump, that's never a lesson to learn. I know we all know it, but like, it's maddening.
Yeah. But this is what it comes down to. This is it right here.
Yeah.
They got to shut us down because they're now so fucking rich at the top and we're so fucking struggling.
That's the whole deal.
All that matters is keeping the narrative alive so both parties can keep that blue line going up. Because the blue line is who feeds these guys.
Yep. I am so grateful to all the people in the comments who can flesh out my when I'm like Amy Grath, no Mick Grath. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it all. I'm
going with the with Ilhan, like disrespecting them by not even knowing their name. That's how I fall on the names.
Randy, whoever the hell.
That Donald guy.
All right. Should we?
We should.
Spin.
We should.
Okay. You mind reader, you what? Pat.
Yeah, baby.
All right. And I am calling my own audible.
Do we want bizarre? No, let's go with this. Is almost wholesome. Halloween couple costumes.
Okay.
Because Halloween's coming up, and
It's
you
coming
gotta start,
up. We're about to start the month.
Every day I'm in Home Depot buying shit for work, right? Which I wouldn't go to because I'd protest them, but my boss, that's where he has his contract with or whatever. But they've had Halloween stuff up for a month now. For Halloween, which is fucking a month plus away still.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
Capitalism. That was awesome, except I'm so slow. I feel like I'm gonna have to rewatch it after the show because I didn't know it all of the
I was wondering if it was a couple of them I didn't get either. I think it might be an old thing.
It's both because I don't get the references, and also some of them move too quickly, and I just need everything to slow down a little bit.
I did see the white chicks, Justin. Which is like, is it blackface to a black person doing a white person?
Yeah, I think it was the Wayans brothers, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's really funny. All right. I know that we'll probably get shut down for this, but I thought that this was really cool. Chumbawamba, who I only knew from the Tub Thumping song, and I guess they disbanded a while ago, like in 2012 or something. But this is them in their early days doing an a cappella version of their song "The Day the Nazi Died." So this falls into
We're taught that after the war the Nazis vanished without a trace, but battalions of fascists still dream of a master race. The history books, they tell of their defeat in 45, but they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. whilst Hess remained imprisoned and the fascists they were beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
I love that. And yes, props to Truth to Tweet, who sends us so much great stuff. And you sent us, you tagged us into this also. And yeah, thank you. I love it. And it actually made me go and listen to a few other songs of theirs that I hadn't listened to before. So thank you. Love it. Strike. We love Strike.
Strike is climbing shit right now. I don't know what's going to happen, but
listen, as long as she isn't peeing or shitting on you, I'm happy. Very happy.
Damn.
All right, let's move on to just, I mean, more, you know, disgrace. I mean, I'm seeing less and less, even though I saw another baby being operated on with no anesthesia, with half its leg being just spilling out of it. I mean, 2 Australian doctors talking about having to deliver a fetus from a beheaded woman. I mean, like, but because Israel has done such a, I'm trying to think of the right word. Anyway, has, you know, slaughtered so many journalists on the ground, including, I mean, slightly separate, but the deadliest day for journalists in Yemen last week. We are seeing, you know, less and less. They are, the siege is becoming even, you know, more complete with lack of electricity and Wi-Fi. So, in the midst of this, you know, as Trump left, then Starmer, you know, had the courage finally to announce his conditional, you know, support of a Palestinian state if they disbanded Hamas and disarmed and, you know, all of that. Also Portugal, Canada, Australia, and France. You know, Macron had an interview where he said that this has been an entirely unproductive battle against Hamas. They had however many thousands of fighters before the war started, and as many as they've killed, they have just as many now, which we all knew, because it's not about Hamas. It's a movement for liberation. And if you're not going to allow people to fight for their own self-determination and liberation in a peaceful way, because you take target practice and try to make as many of them amputees as possible, as they did in the peaceful March of Return, then of course you are going to have violent revolution. We in this country are founded on violent revolution. There is no way to fight for your liberation against an occupying force in a peaceful way. It has never happened in the history of the world. And I will once again thank Norman Finkelstein for his clarity on October 8th, 2023, saying this was not a terrorist incident. I do not condemn Hamas. They are fighting for their liberation. Even though horrific things were done, yes, even by Hamas that day, and of course done by Israel, and a third of the people who were killed that day were active IDF soldiers, and probably the other 2/3 were former or currently off-duty IDF soldiers. So like on some level, they were all IDF, which, you know, if it were the same case with Palestinians and Hamas, they would be all over that. And they imply that that's the truth. Anyway, even though Israel has recently come out to say that 80% of the people they've killed are civilians. So, and then that's not even taking into account the Hannibal Directive. We don't know how many people Israel killed of their own people because they won't allow any, you know, any forensic evidence or outside investigators to look at the crime scenes. They've already destroyed many of the areas where they could have gotten information about what actually happened on that day. But we do have eyewitnesses. We have victims who have said, and we have IDF soldiers who said they were told to just shoot at everybody. Right. So like,
but look, even if you take anything Israel ever says at their word, 2 years ago, the international community should have come and said, we demand journalists access to this. And that would have expedited the world's concern for Palestine at that point. And they're still not even demanding. There's no demand in all this recognizing Palestine that we get journalists in there and have access to report on this. And if you're not committing a genocide, you would want journalists in there when the whole world says you're committing a genocide. The only reason you wouldn't is if you're committing a genocide.
Yep. Also, there's this strange thing where they keep trotting out different, you know, documentaries and footage of all the atrocities that Hamas committed, which, by the way, Trump once again, you know, restated all the lies about babies being slaughtered and dismembered and the rapes and all of the Hezbollah atrocity, or not Hezbollah, the atrocity propaganda that was pushed forward to try to justify, you know, tried to justify the Holocaust they were intending to do all along. So he says that, but yeah, like why isn't the media? Nobody. They are crying for Jimmy Kimmel. They're not saying, look at the, you know, hundreds of our colleagues, our Palestinian colleagues, and now Yemeni colleagues who've been slaughtered by Israel. There's no solidarity there. There's no demand, as you're saying, like to let us in there. Instead, we're going to get Bari Weiss over, you know, taking over CBS News and CNN and
TikTok taking over, and you know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to post a thank you to me. You know, this happens very quickly, and I was doing that, but Lila's right. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's just so, you know, now all these people who are singing for Palestine, I don't know. I just kind of feel like, thanks. Like now it's become like, oh, it's a cause. It's another cause, you know, the entertainers who are finally showing up again 2 years later. And I mean, I'm sorry, like we all have possible repercussions for speaking out against a genocide, but the repercussion for not speaking out against a genocide is you're complicit and you are a disgrace of a person. You lack all humanity and I despise you. So
yeah,
that's the other thing. So Israel is now doing this thing with as we spoke about at the beginning, they are, and Google has allowed this, paying sponsored results. When you search on Google for the flotilla, this is David Adler, who I think is a journalist. I followed him for a while, and I think he is a journalist. He's on the flotilla. Google is allowing the state of Israel to sponsor top search results with absurd accusations that we are harboring terror, pure incitement, and puts the lives of all participants at risk. Still, we sail on to Gaza. And this is, you know, you go to the Google, it's very difficult to see, but this is the sponsored results that when you click on, lead you to the Israeli Foreign Ministry that says that the flotilla to Gaza is openly backed by jihadi Hamas. In Hamas's own words, we call for mobilizing all means to support the global steadfastness, flotilla heading to Gaza, which, like, okay, that's not a terror thing. That, like, these are people who are coming to break a siege to deliver food and aid. There's no terror involved there. This is not humanitarian. This is a jihadist initiative serving the terror group's agenda, which is rich.
Yeah, it's not like they're even claiming they have weapons or something. They have food. They literally have food
and baby
food
formula.
And medicine.
And yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. And, you know, I feel like I have to couch saying this in so many different levels of qualifiers, because obviously, like, the most present issue right now is the Holocaust that's being perpetrated against Palestinians. But to try to wake people up to, and I know everybody here is on the same page, but to the idea that this is a test lab for what they're about to do to all of us, like to all of us. Nobody is safe from this. This is AI, this is the tech, this is the oligarchs taking over, and the data mining will all be used and weaponized against all of us. Yeah.
And that's from a selfish American perspective. All the tech they're experimenting over there and using is coming home, and it's so clear when you put these Zionists in charge of our media. Like they're in charge of our media, and they're in charge of our media. At the same time, these tech companies are getting paid, and they're in bed with Israel on a lot of this stuff. And they're now scrubbing our media and policing on a whole nother level. We're publicly, our government is pro-doxing people with the wrong views.
Yeah. And they started it again under Biden with like the, you know, Bill Ackman bus going by, doxing people.
Right.
And that was applauded, and everybody caved to him.
And if you think the Democrats are the good guys, well,
yeah,
all the tech companies and the Zionists that are running these tech companies are going to be in place regardless of changing the administration. So they're still going to have thought police running everything. We can't vote our way out of it. A Democrat winning is not going to change who's running TikTok or who's scrubbing social media posts on Facebook and Meta.
Yep. And then the other part of it is the designation of terrorism and terror, and, you know, Al-Qaeda and bin Laden, you know, who we used to help us fight against the Russians in the 80s. And then, so he was our friend, and then of course turned on us, although who the hell knows how that all happened. And then, you know, the ousted Assad in Syria, and now like one of the top terrorists in the world, like on camera beheading people with his Al-Qaeda, right, is now coming to give a talk at the UN. So now he's our friend, because we got rid of Assad. And in Israel, they are hiring, they've been paying gangs of ISIS militants to loot trucks and cause havoc and shoot Palestinians. And, you know, we had reports of this. We talked about this probably 6 months ago, but it's making its way more and more into, you know, mainstream Israeli news. You sometimes will get a blip about it, like on the, you know, 8th page of a New York Times report, will say like, you know, ISIS affiliated former ISIS member, whatever. No, Israel is paying ISIS gangs to steal food, to shoot and kill Palestinians, and to cause absolute chaos. So Israel's using ISIS.
Yeah.
Like, so who are the terrorists? What's a terrorist? What's a crime? Who gets prosecuted? Who gets persecuted? And I don't know. We are all a little in the upside down world at this point.
We're in a bad place, and, you know, freedom of speech here to talk about it is relevant because it's not just Gaza. It's, you know, like we talked about, trans terrorism. You know, that's a new, like, they're going to go after trans people here. So the trans flag is going to be a symbol of terrorism next, you know?
Yep.
And it's like, all of it is a function of them showing control over us, shutting us up. So you got to support your trans people, because it's like, you know, the old, hey, they went after that group and I said nothing, and then they finally come after me. Well, every person matters here, man. Like, defend everybody.
All right, I know we're kind of at the end, but that's sort of what I was, I was thinking a lot about the big divide in our sort of small segment of leftist podcasters really happened around the time of Rage Against the War Machine, where there were groups of people who thought it was more important to align themselves with the Boogaloo Boys and racist right-wingers for the cause of being anti-war. I don't even know where the Boogaloo Boys have gone. Interesting. And they decided they were going to be anti-woke, which really meant anti-trans. That was code for anti-trans. Anti-woke, anti-climate, anti-COVID. And that was the big divide. And I mean, sorry, but like, you and I were for a while doing panels with people and like going on each other's shows. And that was, for me, the big divide. And I feel like it's coming back to haunt some people who thought they were riding that wave for a while. And they threw a lot of people under the bus. And now it's a little bit of a come to Jesus moment, because they forsook any solidarity for a chance to align with people who I don't even know actually exist on any real level, if it wasn't just all like an astroturfed right-wing trucker boogaloo, whatever the fuck. But they threw people under the bus or dissociated with them. And now what? There's no left, truly.
Well, no, and that all of that led to, you know, the new thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's the end of the world. He's just one guy, but for Destiny, who's a dirtbag, you know, who supports Israel, and I don't know, he's thrown lots of marginalized groups under the bus. I don't follow him enough to know closely enough.
I don't really. Yeah,
you know, but guys like him thrive because they want to live in that world where they're unwoke, you know, and you led to the guys like him. And he's taken all this money, I assume, from Israel to promote this Unfuck the Country tour, trying to fill some void on the left, you know. And for as much as I don't love Hassan is a good speaker for the left generally. Like, he may be sort of milquetoasty to a lot of real leftists, but I don't listen to him. But I mean,
I don't listen to him, but every time I hear him
he's not going to sit down and talk to Boogaloo Boys. You know, he gets it on that level.
Or you
don't sell out.
Yeah, you don't sell out your own comrades to the Boogaloo Boys. I'll talk to anybody, but like I won't value them higher than the people who are actually on the left fighting for left causes.
Yeah, and if I introduce a discussion with one of those dirtbags, I'm going to do it like that woman did to the Israeli speaker. He's like, responsible for starving millions of kids. You know, I'll go down the list of fucking why you're not a good guy. I'm not going to normalize you.
At the same time this past week. Yeah, I agree. Reflect the Sun. Thank you. You are like our most wonderful donor, and we really appreciate your patronage. It feels very old school, but thank you very much.
The best of donors.
But I think there is a moment right now, because being woke, that was terminology used by Black people to wake people up to how they were being destroyed by a white supremacist system. And then white people took it over, and it kind of just meant like, putting a couple of, you know, marginalized, like a couple of token people from marginalized communities into high spaces. And that meant we're woke. Like when the CIA says we celebrate our gay partners, or, hey, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month and we celebrate women, or whatever. And it's also the very, organization that is oppressing that group worldwide. That is what liberals turned it into, but that's not the real meaning of it. And regardless of how it's changed meaning, you don't throw allies and marginalized comrades.
No, you're look, who is pushing the we shouldn't be woke message on the left? The fucking centrist Democrats are pushing that. Like you're spreading their message, just like with COVID, you spread their message about like, oh, masks are bad, and no, it's anti-science. You've done a lot of harm.
Yeah.
With that message.
Yep. They really have, because that was the only thing that liberals, capitalist liberal, neoliberals used to define the separation that they had from their friends across the aisle, their Republican friends, was, oh, but we do care about gay rights, or we do care about immigrants, or we do care. And then the second it became inconvenient, or they thought they could chase more money by, pushing it aside, that's what they did. It was not a real value of uplifting everybody and giving everybody equity. And so it really is depressing.
It enables the right is the point. Like when you see the right-wing guy on Fox the other day saying you should have lethal injections for homeless people, and then you look to who's the leader on the left, Newsom, and his big I'm out serving the people moment is sweeping homeless encampments. So don't be a lib. That's a lib take to be unwoke. We represent our people. We don't fucking have podcasts with Nazis where we say my kid loves this guy.
Oh, Jesus. I can already see the Oppo ads anyway. Like, right. I mean, he's like provided the whole, all of the opposition. He's given them so many clips. Yeah.
I'm just going to savor this moment. Jenna, thank you.
I'm leaving it right away. Yeah, and that's right. Go back to brunch. Everybody go back to brunch. All right. You guys are awesome. 7:20. We actually I'm so excited. Another introduction from Jen Perlman and Pete Hager in Revolutionary Change. Matthew Solomon, who directed a movie called Reimagining Safety, which is a great documentary on defunding and abolition of police, is going to be coming on in a couple weeks. We have Shama Sawant coming on next Sunday. So we have a lot of really great people coming up who do give me hope. I know I often just kind of like descend into my own sadness, but it really is so, it's really therapeutic for me. Thank you, to hang out with all of you guys and discuss the horrors of the world, because it is. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
And to those guests coming on, they better bring the hope. They better Shama.
Yeah, I know. Shama, I mean,
Shama.
she's just so fierce that like she is so inspiring. So Shama Sawant's coming on next Sunday, the 28th, and Matthew Solomon, who directed the documentary Reimagining Safety, which is fantastic, is coming on. I have to look, but
he has an upcoming documentary about Palestine.
That's right. It's not Seeds of Liberation. It's something like that that's coming up with. I haven't seen that one. I have not seen, but it has some fantastic people in it. So I'm really excited. And yes, Wild Vibes. Thank you. You've been so helpful. Also, I really appreciate it. We both appreciate it. Sorry, I didn't mean to say I. And thank you. It's all therapy too. By the end of the night, believe me, I still have a lot more to go, but I've had so much to drink. And when I ever watch this back, I'm like, oof, I need to curb it a little bit so I can sign off without like drooling on myself. But that's part of the fun, right?
Amen. All right, we're going out on the flotilla. I know we've all watched a lot of it, but hey, this is where the hope is right now for me.
That's right. Me too. Love you guys. Cheers. Keep punching up.
Cheers.